Hey guys, Yuri K here. In this video, I will be discussing sugar and why excessive sugar is harmful for the body. But first, we should begin by describing what sugar is. And sugar is the most basic form of a carbohydrate. I will also post a link to a carbohydrate video that I had made earlier down in the info box below called Carbohydrates 101 if you want to learn more about carbohydrates. So as mentioned, sugar is the most basic form of carbohydrate, which is comprised of the carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen molecule, normally with a hydrogen to oxygen ratio of 2 to 1. Sugars can be classified into two categories, monosaccharides and disaccharides. Monosaccharides are the most basic kinds of sugar, single chain sugars which cannot be further broken down by the body when ingested. They are in their purest form. Examples of monosaccharides are glucose, fructose, and galactose. When monosaccharide chains are combined, you get disaccharides. And examples of disaccharides are sucrose and lactose, which is the sugar in milk. So for example, when you consume sucrose, it's going to get broken down in the body into glucose, which again is the basic form of sugar, a monosaccharide. Another example of a disaccharide is table sugar. So when one consumes table sugar, it is metabolized and broken down into glucose for energy. Now when it comes to sugar, it has gotten a bad rap, and for good reason. Sugar has been proven to have a lot of negative health benefits. But to give sugar the benefit of the doubt, it is required in a small percentage in order to keep the body properly functioning. However, this sugar can be attained naturally by consuming fruits, which again are natural sugars. And when consumed in small amounts, sugar will not cause a problem for the body. However, in today's modern diet, which we consume excessive sugars, sugar has quite the opposite and harmful effect on the body. When it comes to today's foods, which are primarily highly processed, we can see that sugar has been artificially added to just about everything, and it's not just sweets and desserts. And one of the worst offenders is high fructose corn syrup. So why is sugar bad, and why should it be avoided as much as possible in its artificial state? Number one, sugar has been proven to lead to obesity. When consumed, sugar is going to provide energy for the body. However, once the energy is used up, it will get converted and stored as adipose tissue, also known as body fat. And sugar is one of the worst offenders when it comes to storing body fat. And this ties into problem number two, and that is sugar causes an increased blood glucose level, and furthermore, the body is not able to efficiently produce insulin in order to control the blood glucose. So even when the body does produce insulin, it is not able to efficiently manage the elevated blood glucose levels when we consume an excessive amount of sugar for a long period of time. And so the increase in the blood sugar levels, again, not only leads to fat storage and obesity, but also is often a cause of type 2 diabetes. Number three, sugar is very addictive, similar to cigarettes and even cocaine. And not unlike cocaine, sugar has the ability to cause the brain to secrete dopamine and serotonin, which gives you a natural euphoria or a natural feeling of well-being when ingested. However, this is also very addictive, and as we know, when we have sugar cravings, they are very difficult to break, and trying to break them can actually cause withdrawal symptoms, not unlike cigarettes and even drugs. And tying into point number three, sugar actually causes additional cravings, such as hunger and thirst. So by consuming excessive sugars, it can actually make us more thirsty and more hungry, in addition to craving more of the sugars themselves. Now, as I mentioned, when we consume sugar, our pancreas releases a hormone called insulin, whose primary purpose is to bring down the blood glucose levels, to manage the blood glucose efficiently, and also to transport the excess glucose not used as energy to be stored as glycogen in the muscles and in the liver. So again, insulin's purpose is to manage blood glucose levels and to get the excess glucose out of the bloodstream as quickly as possible. However, the problem when we consume too much sugar too often is that when the pancreas produces insulin, it is no longer effectively able to manage blood sugar levels, and thus our blood sugar levels will be elevated, putting us into an insulin-resistant situation. Again, one of the leading causes of obesity and type 2 diabetes. And also, to tie into that point with regard to cravings, again, when we consume sugars and our pancreas produces insulin to try to clear the sugar out of our bloodstream, once it clears, we're going to have too little sugar in our bodies, which is going to cause a blood sugar crash. The blood sugar crash is going to somewhat resemble our body being in a state of shock. And that is, our body is going to have symptoms of paleness, faintness, tremors, sweating, palpitations, and other unpleasant symptoms. And so we need to consume something sugary to get our blood sugar levels back to normal. And the reason this happens is because when we consume too much sugars, our pancreas overproduces insulin. And once the blood sugar is cleared, our brain doesn't get the signal fast enough to stop making insulin and to get our blood sugars back to normal. And as a result, it goes overboard and puts our blood sugar levels too low, resulting in the crash. So by not eating excessive sugars in the first place and managing blood glucose levels, the body will produce insulin at a normal and sustained amount in small levels, and so the insulin will be efficient at managing blood sugar levels and not causing spikes and crashes. Problem number 4, excessive sugars damages our vital organs, and so it actually begins to deteriorate the organs and makes their function less efficient, causing us to age faster and become unhealthier. Number 5, excessive sugar negatively affects our cholesterol levels, and that is, it decreases HDL cholesterol or good cholesterol and increases LDL cholesterol or bad cholesterol. And the last point, number 6, is that excessive sugar causes our body's immune systems to become weaker and actually makes us more susceptible to disease. 2 of the main diseases that are one of the leading factors as a result of excessive blood sugar are heart disease and cancer. Starting with heart disease, excessive sugar begins to corrode the insides of the arterial walls and creates miniature scars which begin to collect plaque and deposits, which leads to arteriosclerosis or hardening of the arteries. And finally, this can lead to thickening of the arterial walls, and as a result, it causes a restricted blood flow through our arteries, and it becomes more difficult for our heart to pump the blood to provide oxygen and nutrients to our bodies and to our organs. Eventually, the scarring and the clogging of the arteries can actually lead to heart disease. And the other one is cancer. Cancer cells love sugar. In fact, they use sugar as a primary source of energy to grow and spread in the body. So when we consume excessive sugar, we are actually more prone to getting cancer in our lifetime. So when we consume too much sugar, there is a higher likelihood that we will get cancer. And if someone does have cancer, having excessive sugar is going to cause their cancer to grow and spread and worsen more quickly in the body. So one of the best ways to prevent the cancer from spreading and worsening is to starve it of its primary energy source, sugar. And by eliminating sugar from the diet, a cancer patient can actually see great improvement by the cancer cells shrinking, and in the best case scenario, the cancer even being cured altogether. Now, that is not to say that eliminating sugar is the only way to eliminate cancer. there are other important things to do as well, such as creating an oxygen-rich and an alkaline environment. By combining all of these, you are creating the best way in order to eliminate the cancer from the body. But again, sugar is one of the major components that's going to help the situation. And so to summarize this discussion about sugar, the most important thing to remember is that our body does need a small amount of sugar for proper functioning. And this sugar can normally be obtained from the food that we eat, especially fruits, which are natural sugars in small amounts. Unfortunately, most foods today have sugar artificially added, and this causes a lot of harmful side effects to our body. And in fact, any food where sugar is artificially added should be avoided as much as possible altogether. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video about sugar. Please like the video, comment, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more. And remember to follow me on Instagram down in the info box below at YuriK0877. Thanks again, guys. Until the next one. Bye-bye.